Praise God.
I know that's right.
No matter how hard it gets.
Thanks for calling Wholesome Maintenance.
We haven't finished yet. There's so much of life ahead. We've got so much to do.
I really enjoyed last episode. That was cute.
You said what?
I was saying I
So
really
let's
enjoyed
start
last
this
episode.
episode.
Yeah. Oh, got it. Okay.
Oh, they said we can go? Oh, okay. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Hope for Maintenance. My name is Lene Vanie.
I'm Sim Sim.
And I'm OBO.
How's everybody doing tonight?
What's up?
It's a good day. It's a good day. This yellow is really brightening my spirits.
I love that. Yeah, it's a good color.
And it's warm outside.
Warm and strong.
Warm and strong.
Warm and strong, but yesterday was cold.
Oh, okay. I wasn't outside yesterday. I wouldn't know.
She
Yeah.
also been a boogie down Bronx, though, so I'm sure.
Yeah, I was about to say, this might be warm for you.
Put it up.
So shaking up things in our maintenance check. I thought, cause the people know how we're doing. We're doing all right, and usually the same. So instead, just getting into some of our thoughts. I don't know. Do you guys watch Earn Your Leisure or listen to Earn Your Leisure, the podcast?
I don't listen, but I'm familiar.
I'm aware, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So recently, because last week we did our money conversation stuff. I had seen something that they posted about being financially compatible, and I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on that. So they said a lot of times we get into relationships, but we're not really asking whether or not we're financially compatible with the person. Yeah. And then when we recognize that we're having these issues, we attribute it to we're just having problems in our relationship, not recognizing that this might not work at all. So I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on that. Like, is financial compatibility in your dating room? Are you having those conversations? Is it something that matters to you, or is it like, whatever?
I've been in a relationship too long, over too many like financial seasons of my life for it to be something that matters to me right now. Like if Lene right now was dating, yeah, but it just can't, unfortunately. So I find myself like working backwards, and that's fine. It's literally fine. Because I love the person that I'm with, but it's a lot to consider. And I find myself being more forward about having conversations about like, okay, I understand that we are in the places that we're in, but how do we take those two things and build together? It doesn't really matter to me as much that we're in the same like bracket of things. It's just unrealistic. Like the amount of people who are able to make a killing off social media, and me making a killing is still strong, but just to be in a position to be making the type of money social media influencers make, it's not as realistic unless you like find someone else who's already doing that type of thing or whatever.
Yeah.
And me and my man met when we were both teachers, so that should tell you a lot. And he's in production now. Like our worlds are melding together more, but it's just going to be different when you are the Beyonce. It's just going to be different. So now the conversations are, okay, great. How does this work in our plan together? Not trying to change who you are, but we do have to meet in the middle and whatever that looks like. But fresh off, if I was out here in the streets, which I hope to never be in my life based off what I've heard, absolutely. But what I will say is I went to the Image Awards with my assistant this weekend, and she also has a boyfriend, and we were joking about how good it is that we're in relationships, because being in these rooms, the men be fine. They be fine, but they're still Negroes, and they're still men, and a lot of them are probably still terrible. So money doesn't mean much to me in terms of like compatibility of a person, and it's like, I don't know, you still got to find good people, and money doesn't make good people, and more often than not it makes worse people, especially when it comes to cis hetero men.
That's right.
Because if they're not raised right, or if they don't have like a diverse circle of people, it can just feed into all this machismo and needing deference from the people around them that I just can't get with anyway. So those are my thoughts.
What are your thoughts, friend?
Money matters. Yeah, get that money up and not that funny up. Yes, but I'm single, so it matters to me. But I think more so than the dollar amount, I care about how you view money. Like, do we view money the same way? Yeah. I don't even mean that in a responsible way, so please don't take that like I'm irresponsible. No. It means like if I want to buy $1,000 pair of shoes, you don't think that's crazy. Like I need you to be on that type of time with me. You know what I'm saying? I don't need frugal Francine with me. We're okay.
I'm sorry, frugal.
I don't need frugal Francine.
frugal
Okay.
Francine.
I don't need that. I'm
Okay.
okay. I think.
Franco.
Because last episode the girls were confused because you
Oh,
kept
I kept saying girl.
and I said don't give them any hope.
No, it's not girl. Yeah,
Because
girl is gender neutral in my home.
Yeah.
But
So it's frugal Ferdinand.
frugal
Yeah,
Ferdinand.
I like that.
He sounds
Fernando.
like a little exotic. Yeah,
Fernando.
for sure. Fernando. Yeah. So yeah, that's where I'm at with it.
Did you guys have the book Ferdinand the Bull?
I did. Yeah.
That's the only reason I recognize that name.
Oh, okay.
You didn't? Got it.
Never heard of it.
All right.
It matters to me so much because to me it's not about, like, you see so much on socials where people are like, I need a man with money, blah, blah, blah. And to me it's about not even just being on the same page, but about having an understanding. Like, how do you spend money? What matters to you? What is your credit score? I can't be in a relationship and not know your credit score. Like, these are conversations that I need to have, because if we are going to a place where eventually we may have joint accounts, where like having a family, like all of that type of thing, we're wanting to get married, I need to know, are we going to get married and I'm going to get a call from like somewhere that you owe money and they're asking me for the money? Or like, are we going to get into a marriage and I'm wanting to make this really big move, like I'm going to buy a property or something, and I recognize that I can't do it because your credit is 700 below?
What if your partner goes broke?
700 below is crazy.
700 below is possible.
Okay.
What if my
Wait,
partner
700 below 700 is crazy?
I'm
She's
ridiculous.
being facetious.
Oh.
Yeah.
But you said, what if my partner goes
Wait.
broke?
Go back. So below
I'm saying
700
if
is
you-
low to you guys?
No.
she
I'm
was
saying like
saying-
if you have a negative 700, you know what I'm saying?
got it.
If your credit is just
Got you.
non-existent. Yes.
If
you are
your
either.
partner goes broke, is that an issue?
Absolutely.
I mean,
But
is it like
We need
we
some
have
nuance.
to? Yeah, we need some nuance. Is it
Yeah.
an issue in terms of you loving and caring and being with them? Is it like, oh, you're broke, we're out of here? Like, does it give, what's that girl named, Paula Patton, when Common got his
And just right?
and Just Right, where it's like, ooh, none for me? Or is it, all right, baby, let's figure this out? Like, it can be an issue for sure, because nobody wants to be in this
That's
world
what
broke.
I meant, is
Oh,
that
okay.
regardless, it's an issue. If
Okay.
you go broke, it's an issue. Like, you've taken all.
I asked the question, but now I have questions. So
Okay.
when we say going broke, how did you guys interpret it? Like, are we saying like they went broke, meaning they don't have any
MC
money?
Hammer broke.
I'm gonna be
Oh,
very.
I'm joking.
I'm gonna be very transparent.
And I feel so bad because I don't mean nothing against MC Hammer. It was a line in White Chicks. If you get the reference, you got the reference. It was not targeted to MC Hammer. I hope you are well wherever you are.
Absolutely. He said MC Hammer. That was a good one.
When you said if your partner goes broke, it literally gave me flashbacks, because something that me and my partner speak about all the time is that we've both been on that side of the spectrum with each other now. Like, we've both been in a situation where like he quit his job, was living out his savings. We've been in it where I quit my job and was like, you need to figure this out. Like, so we've been there. It's not cute.
Living
It's
out
not
savings isn't broke though.
okay.
But the system of money, I think it is necessary to highlight the fact that having a savings is not the average for the average
Well,
person,
fair,
right?
fair,
You know what
fair.
I'm saying?
But
Most people
when-
don't even have savings. Most people are paycheck literally to paycheck.
Correct.
So shout
And
out
I
to
guess
the
like
partner.
going broke, there's levels to that for every relationship. But if we go from bringing in a bunch of income to going to what is now a fixed income because you're living out of your savings, it is going broke because things are coming out that savings.
Every time you say it's going broke, you're reminds me of the City Girl song. Don't go broke, or this pussy going single.
Okay, what she said about Mingle. But anyway,
Make it make sense, Sam.
what I'm saying is that it changes the dynamic. It changes the dynamic.
Yeah.
And because we've both been in that situation before, we understand that it's not fun. It's not fun because all of the work ends up being on one person sometimes. And when you are in a position where you're not bringing in income, you're either thinking about how to bring in income, you're not thinking about how to bring in income, or you're in a place in your life where income is not the priority. So that it becomes a lot.
I can't breathe when I don't have any money.
Okay.
I actually believe that.
I can't.
I believe that if your funds were depleted,
I can't
immediately,
breathe.
like, you
I
would
can't
just
breathe.
turn
Like,
blue.
I'm no good to anyone. No, I'm serious. I can't breathe.
What does that, and before we get into the niggas online of it all, what does that look like for you, being financially compatible with somebody, feeling like this feels good, even if we're not financially equal?
I mean, I think the things that you said, making sure we can do partner things like getting a home together, having a joint account, making sure there's no like collection about that can affect my funds.
Collection about is
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, because
my
the
funds.
debt collectors be
About.
they be about
Call JG.
any way they possibly can be. But yeah, things like that, making sure wherever we're staying, like we can equitably split resources for the things for the other things that you said, like so one person isn't burdened with so many things, or like one person isn't super stressed about bringing in the income and is left to deal with the repercussions of things like the economy just failing by themselves. Yeah, so I think for me that's what compatible means, because there's a difference between equal and compatible.
I agree.
Can I share oh, you were going to say something.
No, I was gonna say I think that it's less about what you have and more about how you view money for me.
Absolutely.
Because I don't really care. I mean, my money gonna be up. I don't even play that. I don't know how to be broke. Like it's just not my thing. You know what I'm saying? Like even if I am broke, I won't be broke long. You know?
It's just not my thing.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm trust me, guys.
Come with it,
I ain't
yeah.
there. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a person who like I'm gonna find some dollars if I have to. And so it's just more about not being shamed for the pursuit of money. I hate people like that. Hate is strong, but like I'm annoyed with people like, oh, money's not everything, and that sounds really cute. And I would love for that to be true somewhere. But I live in a country where money is literally a big part of your existence in here. I hate that it is.
That'd be the thing. And I feel so much for people who are responding to just the state of the world and the way things work with things like depression, anxiety. Like that's why we see so much rise in these things. It's valid. It is not sustainable. And that's like, how much must that suck for people who literally can't, like it's within their makeup now. Like that's how I'm responding to things that are actually happening that I must always adjust to and always adhere to in order to survive. It's still not sustainable, because that's how things work. Oof. And so that's why we have like this whole school of people that's talking about how do we change things. And so like you also have to determine, it's a lot, and it's really stressed me out, which is why I might stay off social media after this 40-day period, because to be inundated with all the new things that are happening that are just cutting at the ways people have like grown to survive, or just like built to be able to face this thing, and now it's shifting and transforming once again. It's really tough. I'd like to see it all crumble. That's just me personally.
I do have to say though that it used to annoy me too when people said money isn't everything, but now I do agree with it. And the reason why I agree with the fact that money isn't everything is, I'm choosing my words.
Please.
It is difficult I've been around people now that money is their main focus, and they're bringing in the money, but it's annoying to me. Like when you don't have any other wherewithal, any other goals, I can't stand being in a conversation with somebody that all we talking about, because you know the plan is, and I was thinking about, and that's when I don't care. So what? Like I really don't care. Like what are we talking about?
You know what I don't like?
What's that?
A toolbox motherfucker.
Ooh, what's that?
What's that?
They don't even have skill. So I won't even say toolbox. It's not a good analogy. I just hate the people that be pulling everything out they scrapbooking box. You need an editor. You need a model. You need a cameraman. You need an assistant.
I actually have to.
And I'm laughing. It is an inside joke, but it's so serious. I hate people like that. They're just like, we can collab. We can do this. We can do that. You can't. I know you can't do the first thing because you also claim to be able to do all these other things. You're not skilled. You're not talented. You are chasing a dollar. You are chasing someone else who is investing in a thing and wanting to be attached. I hate motherfuckers like that. And we just happen to live in a city where that abounds. And it's
I am not doing another free collab for the rest of my life. I don't want to do no more collab for collab. Let me support you, this, blah, blah. I just can't, because it's unfortunate, because there are so many free collabs that I've done that have been beneficial and have been, been able to bless people in their brands and businesses. But there's so much that brings in that type of person. That's like, oh, well, I got this for free.
That's why I don't work with nobody. Like nobody knew really. And and it's not to be a closed off or standoffish thing. I don't have I have to have a discerning spirit that you are a go, that you are a green light before we can interact with one another. And I don't know what to tell you those qualifications are. It just got to be what it is. But I do not like working with new people because you just never know who you're going to get.
And half the time it's going to be somebody goofy. Speaking of goofy.
Okay.
I want to briefly tell a broke story, very briefly, of when I recognized that I was not financially compatible with someone. And
don't piss me off. I feel like you're about to piss me off.
Oh my God, I'm pissed off. Telling you ever like agree to tell a story and then you're like, which part should I leave out?
Yeah. 'Cause
Okay.
It's embarrassing.
It's so embarrassing. It's so embarrassing. I'm not even gonna tell y'all when this happened. Once upon a time.
Not long ago.
I was a hoe, and I'm
I'm
admitting
admitting
it.
Won't take it back because I did the shit.
Was a hoe. Okay.
Yeah. Well, so once upon a time, I was dating a person, and that person had invited me on a trip and was like, me and my friends are going to this thing, and they have girlfriends, and I thought it would be really cool for us to kind of all just go out, get to know each other, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, yeah, for sure. Let's do it.
Man?
It was a person.
Okay.
And so, I was, all for it. The person was like, yeah, you don't got to pay for nothing. Like, everything, I don't want you to worry about anything. Just bring your stuff. Like, we're going to go out, do the trip. First red flag, it was a road trip to a place that could have been a flight. It wasn't like so extensive of a road trip, but it was still like road trip.
How many hours are we talking?
About 3.
Oh,
okay.
that's
So it
moderate.
wasn't-
Okay, that's cool. Yeah.
Okay.
I wouldn't
Not
be,
a red, not a bloody red flag, like a orange, like scarlet.
Yes,
for
cool.
sure.
So we on this road trip. Cool. We get to the destination and they're like, oh yeah, so let's start calling some hotels so we can figure out where we're gonna be staying tonight.
Wait, what do you mean?
Drive
do
me
you
off
mean?
on the side of the road.
What do
I'm
you mean?
in
On the side
another
of the
state
road.
at this point.
Drive me off at the airport. Drive me off the side of the road. I'll get an Uber to the airport. And
And-
I'll sit there and wait to be
And
on
you are
somebody's
so
standby.
smart because that's exactly what I should have done.
Okay.
I want to also give context to the fact that I had my own money at this time.
Mm-hmm.
So at any point I could have said, you know what, guys? Leave me out of it. Y'all have fun. I'm going to actually go ahead and get on this
No,
next flight home.
I want to hear the rest. So what now?
So they're calling around to hotels. We're in a very popular area, so all the hotels are pretty much booked. They finally find a hotel, and we're in the lobby. I'm talking to the girlfriends now, and I'm trying to also understand, like, is this a thing y'all do, or like whatever? Like, and the girlfriends are also very confused because they've just started dating these people as well.
Oh my Lord, today.
And so by the time we all book rooms,
We all book rooms.
by
Okay.
the time we all book rooms, one couple walks their way.
Got it.
The other couple tells us, like, all right, we over here, y'all. Which I'm like, okay, like, do we have like adjacent rooms or like blah, blah, blah? Why do we walk into a room?
What do you mean?
I'm so
What do you mean?
embarrassed.
I'm embarrassed.
This story, it wasn't even about me. This is someone else.
Okay.
We walk into a room
What are you saying?
and they call and they're like, yeah, you can bring it up. And they're bringing us up like one of those extra beds in someone
Okay.
else's room.
1, 2, 3. Niggas online.
Yeah.
What's going on?
All right. So
Thank
what's
you for that.
happening with the Negroes online?
Yeah, what's going on with niggas online?
So what is happening with the niggas online? Lene, you're not on the internet.
Wait,
so-
did you stay? Because you're about to piss me off too. So, and if you did stay, fine. Did you see when the pull-out joint that they ordered to come out
I
there?
don't want to talk about it. No.
Which was what? This is insane. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
my
Moving on.
God.
You're right. Moving on. Go
To
ahead.
anybody that can relate, you are not your past. We all made decisions that we're not proud of.
I am not my.
Okay.
Just go ahead. Okay.
So have you guys heard about the yellow couch scandal? The yellow couch drama on TikTok. Have you, OBO?
I
No?
haven't.
So basically, there was a girl recently who posted, when you at his penthouse, Wi-Fi jumping, no kids, no baby mama drama, no roaches, unlimited snacks, big ass TVs, and he got money. And it went viral.
Okay.
So
The couch is cute.
what I'm presuming is that this couch is so recognizable against this backdrop that everybody know whose house this is.
2 other women posted a video
Damn.
saying, when you see a random girl on TikTok posting a video on your man's couch.
Oh, damn.
Then another girl posted a video saying, now at this time, as a person with sense, I knew that this had to be scripted because in the videos, all 3 women are in front of the couch. So it would be strange to me that like these people would have just I'm not making no video in front of this couch. You know what I'm saying? If this is really my man's house, like I just don't see it giving. You know what I'm saying? That.
Okay.
But
I mean, Goofy does come in all kinds of shapes and forms. I can see this being real, but okay.
okay. Well, that's why TikTok saw it being real, and it went up. You know, there was a lot of people trying to figure out what's going on. Like, we need to do our research. The girls begin to tell stories about, you know, I started dating this guy. This is what happened. Blah blah blah. Everybody's roped in.
Everybody want to be Reese Teaser.
Everybody wants to be.
Nobody want to put the work in.
And that's.
If I don't see 55 parts, I'm not tuning in.
Okay.
This is lazy.
I will never do that again.
Get in the field. I don't care. Get in the field.
I'll do it. What? Actually, no, I won't, because people gonna be trying to. Okay, continue.
I didn't do it for research, but I'm just saying, like, still, I respect it though. Get in the field.
So they have people going. People begin like dragging them in the comments and talking about, you should have just left him instead of posting this video. Y'all, you weird, blah, blah, blah. Just being very hateful and very mean. They couldn't take it. They were like, all right, y'all, this is a joke. We're just friends. Like, it never gave that. And it was really
that was even more
corny to
cringy.
me.
Yeah, I would have went with the whole desperate
Not
thing.
attention.
Yeah, not like on purpose.
Yeah.
Never show your cards, girls.
I think this brings up the area of interest to me, that with social media, people are always asking, what did you do to get big? Like, there is no, and it sounds cliche, but there's no formula on how to build a social media career. And at the same time, I remember when, I forget her last name, but her first name was Ro, but the woman who was hit with the brick.
Yeah.
People began to clown her for making videos on TikTok for attention. She was doing skits before. Yes, social media is a place where you create things for eyes. You create things for audiences. But there is something about grasping organic attention that a lot of people just cannot master, and I hate it for you. It may happen one day, but this really feels cheap. This feels lame. You see what I'm saying? They should feel lame.
I think we don't give enough credit, or we've trivialized the whole gift of gab thing. Like, gab is a gift.
Yeah,
And I think we kind of act like people, you know what I'm saying? Like, everybody, like likability is, I think everybody has. Like, presence, those are talents. And I think we've always acted like they're untalented. No, it's a talent to be able to really, like, garner an audience and, like,
Tell a
story, keep
and to
attention.
also be consistent at it.
Yeah.
That's a talent, I believe.
And I think people have trivialized it, so people think that everybody can do it. And then you do stuff like this, and you look corny. I would have stuck with the original lie. I would have.
Yeah, no, y'all would just had to eat me up.
For real. Like, I would have turned
Like,
into,
find you out?
No, you would never. I would have turned into like men
You
are
took
just
it to the grave.
trash. Yeah. Yeah, I would have.
I would have spun it, and now I am treating me
Yep.
to the things I need to treat me for. And now I'm a lifestyle and foodie
Absolutely.
influencer. Like, these
That's
girls
it.
don't know how to do it. They
Come
don't know
on
how
now.
to spin it.
you gotta keep it going, sis. It would have never gave. It would. Oh, I'm choosing me. All my ladies in the space choose you. Don't let a man keep you down.
Now we have an audience.
I feel like I'm at a brunch.
Okay.
But
He would have gave brunch.
it also gives that there are a lot of people that, and the reason I chose to speak about it briefly is because there's a lot of people that don't understand what comes with having a platform. You're going to get bullied, girl. You're going to get people who drag you for filth. You have to learn to laugh about it and let it go. But it feels like it just came to a point where it was too much for at least one of them especially. And she's like, y'all aren't girls. Like, y'all are, you know, so mean and y'all don't know how to take a joke and blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, I don't know. Like, if that was a joke.
And not for nothing, I think more people who do make money on social media should tell people that viral content is one of the most unsustainable ways to make money that you can think about. Like, no funny shit, but like the 81st Deli chicken salad girl, right? Like, she kind of had her moment, and then like those viral, this little thing wouldn't have been a way for her to like break into an avenue. Like, it's hard to do it based on stuff like this.
And then
It's not gonna sustain.
also you got to ask yourself like what you want to live in too. Like, the thing that goes viral, like, there are people who go viral several times for several different reasons. And there are some people that try to hold on to that viral moment. And it's like, girl,
Please let it go. My God, today.
let it go. I
ain't
want to
gonna
talk
name no
about
names.
somebody, but I don't want to.
Yeah, I'm about to say, I'm going to talk offline.
Okay,
Yeah.
niggas offline. Yeah.
And it's crazy because I think we talk about younger selves. My younger self used to want to be like, go have a viral moment. But I'm glad though, because to your point, I probably didn't want to sustain whatever that viral moment would have been. Because now it's like, I want to do the same thing over and over. Like, I'm sick of talking about blah, blah. Like, I'm sick of doing, like, young BBQ, right? I wonder if she's sick of doing funny dances and wants to actually give y'all choreography. Like, I want to actually really break it down. And I think she's also transcended that now. But it's like, oh, I'm sick of doing this one.
Yeah.
Like, you know, they want the
Yeah.
same thing
And
from
then
me.
people invite you and ask you to do your little thing.
Like,
You got that one thing that you do.
yeah,
It just gave like, come down and do your one little dance for your uncles and that.
Exactly.
Like, and I think it's also important for us to accept when something just is what it is and we're not good at continuing. Like for example, me personally, like I've gone viral a couple times and I love when it happens because it's so cute. You know, well,
Yeah,
I don't want to
that's
call it cute, but it's fun because you get all the funny comments. You know, when it happens for me, I'll tell y'all like, look at what they talking about. They dragging me, and it's a fun moment. But to me, that's what social media is. It's fun. Like it's enjoyable.
I've never been viral before. Like viral.
Like you've never had like something go like millions and you have
what's
like
viral. How do we qualify viral? Right?
to me viral is when you surpass a certain percentage of your engagement. So your post goes so far past the people that follow you that you're now bringing in an audience of people that you would not have brought in before.
I used to view viral as like a bunch of reposts, like you're being reposted by a bunch of different outlets and stuff like that, and I haven't had that moment before.
Okay.
I've had videos that have done really well, but like they're all centered on that video. It hasn't been like I'm seeing it on BuzzFeed or
I've never had that, and actually kind of pissed me off because, and I always talk about her because it was such a thing, but there's so many elements of it that come back up. But there was one video, my parking lot videos have gone viral. And I think that's how I built my audience, but they also had something to come back to hold on to that.
Right.
But there was one. I've never had one of my videos. I don't want to lie. Maybe the Capitol Riot one just be reposted on articles and stuff. But there was just one video that I did that was about Stop Asian Hate. And the Asian girl went and repeated me. And then she was on BuzzFeed. She was on Baller Alert. She was on Viola Davis' page. And I was pissed about it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. That's it. That's all I had to share.
It's okay. I get it.
We're happy that you released that today.
Thanks. I might release it again later because it was really an ordeal for me and my spirit.
Yeah.
Which was kind of wild though. That's wild, but that's also the audacity that I feel for somebody to sit down and write your words, and especially with it already being a very popular post, for somebody to write your words verbatim and have the courage to go on social media and say
Oh,
it as
someone
if
wrote it verbatim?
yes,
Somebody said it
like
verbatim.
verbatim
Oh,
sent her
tea.
post that was already like, would you have like a couple 100,000 views or so?
Sure.
Yeah, like it's to go into public and say it like it's yours with no tag, like that's kind of crazy.
That's a little interesting. That's bold
So,
too.
We can move on.
That's really bold.
It's a lot.
Okay.
So I'm glad everybody understands.
Yeah, it's a little bold. No,
It
that's-
elicits a certain emotion, you know?
at least like change some words around. Like, don't-
Not a single word was changed.
I would add me in school. I'm changing some words. Not plagiarize. I'm changing some words.
Okay.
I just feel like if you're gonna go for it,
Oh, see, I know what kind of student you were. You used to cheat and get A's on your test, didn't you? When you were
Actually-
copying, you would get an A. See, with me, if I'm copying, like a B. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna miss a few on purpose.
I'm not gonna hold you. I definitely was. Now that you bring it up,
If I
Because I
got
was
the
smart
answers,
enough
I'm
for it.
not. Oh, for them to believe you had an A.
yeah,
See, they were
I-
never gonna buy
when
an A
I
out
had
of me.
to do that, it was only for AP Econ that we had to do that.
absolutely.
I remember one time, none of us ever knew what was going on, and so the class before us like slid us the answers one time, and like we all were smart enough to do that, but it seems like we all got a question that was super hard, and so when he asked us one by one, how'd you come to this answer? I don't know, bro. Like, you know damn well that I don't understand this. And I was like, oh, I think this is what I thought was happening. And so I got this answer. He was like, well, that's wrong. And I said, well, lucky guess. But it was going to be all of that. But what's crazy, I only did things like that when it was like communal, because the type of student I wasn't letting you cheat off my paper. Absolutely not.
Well, I hated you.
You're
Wait,
unprepared.
were you covering?
I wasn't covering.
Oh, I'm
but
about to
like,
say.
we're not in cahoots
not-
about
we're not talking
cheating.
about
I was the opposite.
I'm disinterested.
First of all, gang what you need. Like if
No.
I know it, here we go. That's just
I didn't feel like
why?
Because we're not friends on a regular day. Why are you looking
Oh,
at my
we were.
paper?
Yeah.
No.
Mine was more like, cause I think I used to always look smart. So I'm doing my work and I see my copy. I'm like, hey, bro, listen, do not copy at your own risk. I'm guessing. I'm Christian, so if you copy at me, I promise you, we gonna be looking cuckoo. You gonna be mad at me. I'm telling you. I'm guessing.
Hilarious.
Man.
Yeah.
I do remember the times though, like the AP classes were lit. The way we would band together for shit. Yeah.
I've never been in those.
Because we had to get A's. We had to do that.
It was no. I took one AP course, matter of fact, and I didn't finish it. He let me leave it, but he used to fold my test and give me my test. You know, you failed. And he used to fold my joint, like, you know, passing the test. Oh, you know, he's like, see me after class. One time, I guess after my third or fourth F, he was like, hey, It was like AP English, and it was just so much reading. Good Lord, today. And I thought it was gonna be easy because everybody took it before me said it was based on class participation. I'm like, oh, I can finagle it.
I can participate.
Yeah. And it was so specific questions. Like, what are we talking about? Like, in 1945.
I love me a date. I'm not gonna hold you.
Praise God, I like me a date to the movies. But so at this point, it just really didn't give that. So I was Christmas treeing. He said, see you at the class. Listen, let's just not even play the games. And I said, okay, cool. I'm gonna go ahead and go back to the regular. That was it for me.
May her soul be resting in peace because this woman changed my absolute life. But my AP English teacher, and she know we got beef to this day.
Okay.
It just is what it is. But I love that lady so
Did
much.
she pass away?
She passed away.
We just got beef?
Absolutely. Beef never dies. So I'm going to tell you why this was so important, and it humbled me, and then we're going to move on. But I wanted to get into AP English. I have been like a straight A student, especially in English. English was just my thing.
What? In high school?
In high school.
A's in high school is so wild to me.
Really?
A's in middle school, sure.
I was gonna get a B in science, and I have a story about that. It's really, I think I put 100 on 10, but I have a whole story about my B in science.
Okay.
I'm gonna make my brief.
Okay.
So basically, it was just one of those things where you could touch me anywhere else, but English, I was taking it. Like, it just was what it was. And she hated my arrogance. She hated the fact, and she told me, she was like, you're one of those people that think because you're smarter than other people, you don't have to work as hard. And I find that very lazy of you.
Did you think that?
She was correct. I didn't know. I wasn't aware.
She was correct.
She ate that one thing.
Yeah. She was definitely, no, she ate the whole thing for real. Like, she
No
ate me
crumbs
up.
left for you.
Not at all.
Got it.
Like, she had it. So I would just always take it as, okay, but I'm still going to get in that AP class. Guess who ended up being appointed the AP teacher my senior year? Her. She said, no, you're not in the class. I said, but I meet the qualifications. Like, you can't not put me in the class. I ended up going to the principal, having the principal come down, interrupt her class, and tell her, let her sit in your class. And she said, I will cancel this whole class right now and walk out if you let her sit in here. No, I will not teach this class if she is in here. And I literally, like, it was a whole thing. The entire school knew about it. She did not want me to be in this AP English class. For about 2 weeks, I came to her class. I don't know what class I was supposed to be in at that time, but for 2 weeks straight, I came every single day. Like, I want to be in this class. What do I need to do to get in this class?
It's given that Hispanic boy on Coach Carter.
Yeah.
What do you want me to do, Coach? I do anything, Coach.
It was very much that, yes.
Y'all battling to be inside of a class?
It was the
They were
It was principal.
They were calling to get me to go to class. We haven't seen Opie in like 3 days. He's out of here. I don't have time.
It was the principal.
I like school.
Y'all like school?
I did. I went to.
Oh, we
don't give
should
first
do
of
an
all-
episode on school, like in school, because this is so interesting.
I went to
have so many
Talent
questions.
Unlimited.
Okay.
Who likes school?
So
What?
if y'all been on TikTok and y'all seen the best high school in the world, the ones where the girls be doing all the little skits and the dances in the middle of the hallway, yeah,
Oh, like
I went
Vogue
to
and
see
stuff?
everything.
I love them.
I went to see you. Okay, so we had a time. It was great.
It's still a game school for me though. I never want to be at school. What is that? Get me out of here.
Long
Hey,
story
0
very
to 10.
short, I went through all of that just to fail the damn test.
You failed the AP test? Oh, okay.
So you didn't get the college credit, I'm assuming. Okay.
Absolutely not. I struggled through that entire class. It is so much reading. But
That's what I said. How many books is there?
I'm sorry, I can't
What happened to their eyes watching God and a cute little situation, Zora Hurston situation, and let's go home? Why are we still reading?
We
I
do
was
have to
also
do a
very
school.
high
It
during
was
senior
a-
year, so it was a lot.
Oh,
Very
okay.
what? Hot?
High
In high school.
in high school.
All
Smoke
right.
before school.
We
every
do have to
morning.
do a school episode because the ways in which I can't relate is really funny.
It's
To anybody?
crazy. Okay.
Yeah. Anyways.
So moving on to a less humorous topic, and we'll speak about it briefly, because I want us to get into the big kahuna today.
Should give a trigger warning for this.
Okay. So yes, trigger warning. We will be speaking about what
Sexual
trigger
assault.
warning. Should I say the whole thing, or should I just go SACA?
Oh, I just said
Yeah,
it. So.
SACA. He just said it as well, but it's
Okay.
here. It's
So
in the
trigger
room.
warning for sexual assault and child abuse, especially that related to being on production or in child acting. So, have you guys heard about, even not even just about the documentary, but have you ever heard that there was a little bit of darkness in the Nickelodeon years
All of
during
it.
Oh yeah,
production?
for sure.
Yeah. So there's a documentary out right now, I believe it's on HBO Max, called Quiet on Set. Drake Bell from Drake and Josh is telling his story. And it's bringing out a lot of the darkness that happened, not just with Drake Bell and Brian Peck, but also with one of the people that was over Nickelodeon at the time and a lot of the shows that were being produced, Dan Schneider. Dan
sounds familiar.
Schneider.
That doesn't mean.
So there's a TikTok that I put in there, and I'm gonna share it on our socials, but I want you guys to take a look at it real quick so you can get a little bit of the background.
Can you play it and I watch?
Yeah. Yes. Can we play what?
There's a TikTok link. You see it?
Yeah.
Give you a little color.
Come on, color.
About Dan Schneider. For decades, Dan seemed like he was untouchable. But around 2017, the internet videos around Dan really started gaining momentum.
He made them do things that were very weird.
There are all these setups that reference porn,
What? Oh.
like squirting goo on Jamie Lynn's face when she's just 13 years old.
Feel these kids' feet. Wow, they're really soft.
People were looking back at old scenes and saying, Dan Schneider is obsessed with feet.
Check this
It's all
out.
very gross and foul.
Impossible to escape children's feet. Dan Schneider.
Absolutely disgusting.
Grown-ass man, what the are you doing? There's one video of Ariana Grande making a joke about a potato.
Sometimes I wonder if you can get juice from a potato.
Did that air on Nickelodeon?
Come on, give up the juice.
Yikes.
I'm thirsty.
In another video, Ariana is pouring water on herself in what seems like a very sexual manner, and people started saying this feels inappropriate for children. Looking at Dan Schneider's stars, some of them became extremely famous, some of them really struggled publicly.
After her arrest last week.
Now, some of them are starting to speak out about what happened when they were on his sets.
I worked with an incredibly emotionally abusive producer. I did not feel safe around Dan Schneider while I was working at Nickelodeon.
All of this information has made us wonder what was happening behind the scenes. As a reporter at Insider, I wanted to investigate further.
I've been waiting for someone to question the climate. It's been a long time coming.
I didn't feel safe to say this hurt me.
The bad just doesn't go away. The bad stays for a lifetime.
It was a toxic, unsafe environment.
I can't sit on it anymore. I can't watch it continue.
I want people to be accountable. I've been waiting 17 years for today.
About Dan Schneider.
Oh my God.
Okay, so I know
heavy.
that was a lot.
It's heavy, yeah.
I want to start with the fact that I was speaking about this recently to O, and the strangest part for us, and probably for most of the people who are reliving this, is we were there, right? A lot of us were watching these shows, and there wasn't a red flag for us of like, this is gross, this is weird, why do they keep doing this, or why do they keep doing that? And I think the reason for that is because we were kids watching kids. We weren't thinking about the fact that this was a production that was led by adults, and that these things had any, like, you know, hidden agenda behind it. So I just wanted just your fresh feedback on like watching some of those things. Like, were there any moments reminiscent for you guys of being like, Nickelodeon got weird for me at this time, or there was a red flag for me while I was, you know?
I think what's interesting about being a looker or a consumer of these things as a younger person is that even though we're not in the Nickelodeon scope, we're still in the societal scope that made it okay. Does that make sense? So, for instance, it probably wasn't jarring for me as a kid because I think, likewise to the actors, you're a kid, so you don't really have a lot of autonomy as a small person, and so you kind of tend to lean on the adults around you, I think, and we're kind of taught from kids that, parents know best, the adults know best, respect, deference, all that good jazz, and I feel like this is jarring for me because there's so many instances that I had just outside of like media, right? With like just other adults around me that were a little creepy that you also didn't know if it was creepy or if it was just how the scope was because you're young. And I think, which I always talk about, giving kids more agency because kids think they always don't know anything. And it takes you to be an adult to say, wait a minute, that wasn't right. Because now you have the autonomy to do so. And everybody's like, why it takes so long? I was a kid and people handle me like a kid. And so, yeah, I think it just becomes really, really tough to watch. Like that Ariana Grande thing was creepy. I was so uncomfortable.
I think I might remember the potato sketch. That like it sounded and felt familiar to me, but like not with these eyes. And so to the point of, I think there was a lot that was gotten away with because kids who were shielded from certain things might not have had a point of reference to know that this is creepy. But looking at it with adult eyes, like very well that that's inappropriate and that you shouldn't have done it, and you shouldn't have put a child in a position, like you shouldn't have used a child's like image, body for whatever sick fantasies you had that you wanted to play out. And I think it's really interesting. I was having a conversation with my partner, with my boyfriend. I don't want to be saying partner. I guess partner be sounding a little more like sophisticated and official.
Does. I like when you get partner. It makes you sound really like wow.
It's just hard for me to call a man that I got 2 kids with my boyfriend. So I be thinking, but it's the ghetto part of me that be like, partner is a little fancier. It's all ghetto, but for me, go ahead.
But we were having a conversation, and I don't ever mind going there, so I'll just like share for the purposes of being clear. But I saw. What would I call them? I saw someone who assaulted me in an airport, and they had just come back up. I've seen them like a couple times over the past year, and I asked him how he felt about that because as someone who is protective of me, I asked him how he processes it and how he feels like in situations because there was a point in time where he was actually in the room. And so he always prioritizes my safety and my feelings and not his personal thoughts. So I just asked him how he felt, and he said, it's not his job to, he said certain things aren't his job, but he does still wonder about how I process things because I don't seem to be distraught on a daily basis. He was not downplaying my experience. He was just wondering about my emotions. Yeah. And he said, it's not something, and I found it funny might not be the word, but ironic that he had language that I think a lot of people do when they're still trying to differentiate what is assault and what's not. And he said, it's not like a stranger attacked you in the street. This is somebody that you knew. This is someone that you let in your home. And it just clouds it for me because you would think that you would be angry, or even the way that I handled it initially, like not wanting to press charges and things like that. He said, I have trouble ascertaining where your anger lies. And I said, I think it's interesting that you still view sexual assault in this binary of stranger in the bushes and something a little bit more intimate, because you would think that the intimate thing was more sinister. And so that's what I feel when I see images like this, because you would think that something that is so in such close quarters around people that you trust, like it wouldn't happen, or you would feel more of a visceral reaction if it was like some random attack. But this was in a controlled environment. And so it feels that much more sinister to me because I also have like similar experiences of becoming an adult or getting older or having to really go over things in my mind to realize, oh, that wasn't okay. So that's just how I feel about it. My raw emotions really make me my heart go out to all of these child stars, and not just in Nickelodeon. We've seen it across the board. I think I was having a conversation with my assistant. We were watching Camp Rock, and there's one young woman who has a podcast now where she just talks to child stars about having difficult experiences or having underwent abuse, and like there's just a whole community of them, and just how sick must that be, because these are also the kids we're looking at as young people, like, oh, I would love to be in this position, I would love to, and just think, I saw the Subway documentary. Did you guys see the Subway documentary?
I did.
Sick, disgusting stuff. But the way the institutions and structures and systemic nature of things that are built around these adults who have access to kids. And when you think about the level of casting calls that these kids were brought out to and what they were promised, and just how we know grooming and sexual predators work, like what these kids might have been promised to do certain things to get this lifestyle that we're all looking to and excited about, because it feels outside of our reality, but what is their reality? So there's so much to comb through, but my heart goes out, and I think it's disgusting. And I haven't even, I haven't watched a lot of Nickelodeon reboots, and it almost makes me scared to watch and see what I see now, because I do remember things like, quirky things, like with the feet. And I just remember quirky things happening on Nickelodeon often. And to now go back and watch it and see what it may or may not have been connected to, or what the direction in the room was for those things to happen, is sinister. It's insidious.
I really appreciate that perspective of it, because as you were speaking, especially about when you said your partner was trying to, figure out, how do you feel? Like, how do you process this? It made me think about what it must be like to be in the position of someone that didn't just experience assault with a person, but experienced assault while it was being recorded and while other people were in the room. And then also assault that can be accessed by millions and millions of people internationally at any time. To never be able to be free to release from that, I think, is a whole different level of why a lot of times, because the biggest question, and it's annoying to me, but I know people are gonna have it, the biggest question that a lot of people have when these stories come up is like, why did you wait till now to say something? Which is like, baby,
that's my point. Like, what level of, I don't know, I can't find the words for it right now, but for the person to be confused about what happened to them, or for the person to not be sure about what they should feel about it. Like, that's what makes it so much worse. And worse is strong, because you can't compare anybody's experience with assault. Like, anybody being attacked in the street is also devastating and traumatic.
Right.
But it all needs to, it may not need to be in the same boat, but it all needs to be valued with the same sort of urgency. Because like that person said in the video, it stays with you. The hurt stays for a very long time, because you're not even sure how to process it.
Yeah.
And there's so much fear, right? I think there's fear and shame that I think plague the entire experience, right? Because in the same breath, you're wondering, am I going to get a job? Like, I still want to work.
Right.
I don't want to be labeled difficult, sensitive. I don't want to be blackballed. So you want to have access to money, which of course goes back to the overarching conversation here. Then the shame, like, in my week, especially for young boys, I think it's why it takes guys so much longer to talk about sexual assault, because I should be stronger than this. I should be, I should have known, even when you are 10 and 12 years old, when you should have just not been taken advantage of. But, you're internalizing all these things as a me thing. And I think it becomes so tough for these young people, man. My heart goes out, because I think, even for me, there's some things that happened to me in my past that I'll never share. Let me fun of me. I'm already not the most sharing person in general, but like, I'm never talking about it, just because I think the work that I've done to bury them and keep it pushing, I can't revisit them. And I think a lot of people have done that, where it's like, I'm going to bury this and keep working until you just can't bury it anymore. Let me get this out of me. And then you wait till you're 34, or like Cassie or whomever, right? And you're just like having these moments where you just need to get it out of you, but it just sucks. This is whack. This is lame. I want to beat him up.
Even like, to your point, like, to connect this to just a way smaller, like, not even a big deal event, right? When we were speaking earlier and I was telling you guys about my little broke story of what I went through with that, there was a part in the story that as I was speaking, I'm like, oh, this is so embarrassing. Like, this is so embarrassing.
Yeah.
And that's just a little moment of me being younger and dating somebody that I don't even talk to today. So I think that shame, we think a lot of times, has to do with how we think other people will view us, when a lot of times it has to do with how we view ourselves. What position am I in now? And what was I thinking? Why couldn't I? Like, if you watch Quiet on Set, which is Drake Bell's documentary about what happened to him, he's saying that as he was going through some of these moments, okay, I get it. As an adult, this was a red flag. But back then, it seemed like this is what you do. Back then, this person was that man in Hollywood. Back then, this was my mentor. Back then, you're successful. You've worked with all the greats. Like, this makes sense. So it's hard sometimes when, as you're speaking out loud about a thing, you begin to feel so embarrassed about all the things you just didn't know. back
And
then.
I think even to the point, what doesn't make sense, even if it doesn't make sense, it doesn't necessarily feel wrong. That's the part I think, right? Because we don't know what sexual assault, the fullness of it even is.
Right.
You know, even for myself, I was modeling at 19. I would come into shoots. We would do test shoots before we do a shoot, right? They would test to see if you're a good fit for the actual campaign. And I'd be in test shoots, maybe me and like 4 other guys, let's just say. There's no changing room, mind you. So we're just all changing out in the open, which is fine. But there'll be moments in which the photographer will push you. Oh, okay, let's do underwear shots. Now, mind you, came here to shoot for Express or for a suit company. Let's just say, let's do underwear shots. And I'm like, okay, well, I've seen underwear models.
Yeah.
Maybe this is how it goes. You get underwear. Let's just done without the underwear. Just cover. Will you be covered up? Just cover yourself up. You know, I'll leave the room as you take them off. Like that matters because you're gonna come back to the room when I'm naked. But okay. But again, I'm 19. I've seen models do these kind of things. What do I know? Sure. Or you may come in this, people are stirring coke in the back, and you think that's just kind of again. So it's like it feels off, but it doesn't feel necessarily wrong because you don't understand the culture of these environments. Exactly. So when you're in the industry that your parents are probably not in, you're probably the first person in your family to be in these spaces. They also don't really know. And so they're probably also gaslighting their kids. Hey, mom, I don't feel like this is da-da-da. That's just how it goes in the business and da-da-da-da-da, because no one's having these conversations. And then when they finally do, they're shamed for having them because they waited too long.
Right. Well,
I would love to know, and I'm not saying that these people I'm not projecting these experiences on anyone in particular, but someone that I've always admired is Zendaya. I've always admired the way it seems her family has crowded around her and the way she was able to leave Disney without what seemed like to be some sort of public disarray or like fall or be in shambles. Like she seemed to exit like by the grace of God, like quite literally. Because when you think of stars that transcend from Disney, they don't do work that is super notable. I'll start there. Or we know them for being on drugs.
I'm trying to think of something to negate your point.
I was thinking the same. Because I
like
was
Raven Simone hit my head, but I'm like, Raven Simone, she went through her stuff. Amanda, she went through her stuff, yeah.
Lindsay Lohan, and all like extremely talented people.
Where's Hillary Duff?
I was just thinking
she
about
might
Lizzie
be minding
McGuire.
her business. She might, and like they're the school of people who went and minded the hell out their business. Like Annalise Vanderpool, who's Chelsea from Raven. I feel like she's minding her business.
Okay.
They're not giving her work though. She's talking about them not giving her work, but she at least like is minding her business. So like it's very, very few far and in between. It's not like you leave Disney and have success. I can't name more than Zendaya.
But I'd like to think also like when we think of Ariana Grande is not out. You literally just saw her.
Yeah.
You know?
For sure. Yeah.
But right. So there are some people that I think make an active, and just people that I know in my life even, make active decisions to say, this is something that happened to me, I'm goodbye. They do not want to live in their trauma. They don't want to talk about it. They don't, maybe they have a therapist. Maybe they, have figured out their way to heal. But there are some people that have decided that my trauma is not a place that is not a thing that I want to bring to the public. And I respect that so much because I think it's important. I think God gives us all a path, right? And there are some people that speak about these things so that we know that they're wrong. We're not alone. We have advocates. And there are other people that are like, that's just not my path. And I appreciate that.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
The more robust part of this, though, I'm thinking, is the intersection of the trauma of the experience while being black. So I'm wondering how they ironed out their blackness in these moments on top of assault or discomfort around an activity, right? 'Cause I'm thinking like Coco Jones, for instance, right, who had her moment with Disney, and I forgot this full story, but a whole thing happened. She made this whole long video explaining her process and how Disney was this, Disney was that, and her not kind of having a true understanding of why she was kind of like exiled in this way. But again, like that, I don't know why versus I know what happened to me and it being at least validated what happened. Whether or not I should have took forever is different. But my blackness also being a part of the intersection that makes it even more cloudy about how to speak up or when to speak up. And
I hope I don't sound ignorant, but to me, I don't feel like any of those things have anything to do with blackness specifically. Like the assault that takes place, especially in like child acting, child production. To me, it's a vulnerability game where maybe your blackness is what your vulnerable piece
I'm about to say
is.
that makes you more, yeah.
Right. Or maybe your youth is what your vulnerable piece is. Maybe your
Single parent.
very eager parent, yes, is what your like. But I don't think that it's a thing where because you are black, this is what happens. It's a game of where can I get you? Where can I put you in a mindset to where you feel belittled and small and I can have power over you? The more that I kind of listen to these stories, that's just the...
Like our school system in churches.
Oh, well.
If it's going to be super high, I think church is a really big place where pastors prey on kids who don't have active parents.
And you're right. And to that same point, it's like, I don't think they look for the poor kids, but they recognize that the poor kids are where. But it's more so not just because you're poor.
It's not classist. It's predatory.
Exactly. And that's the language I was looking for. Yes. Yeah. So I just wanted to shed a little bit of light on it very quickly. I know it's a bigger topic. I'm excited to hear, you know, when we post this, like, what you guys think. But I wanted to just glimpse over it because I know it could get into a lengthy conversation.
Protect kids, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. Protect kids.
Yeah. I almost said something a little bit.
Me too. Protect kids.
Protect your kids too, please. Those of you who have them. And I know that may not sit well with everybody, but protect your kids, please. It's a big part of it.
You're right, this conversation could go on and on and on, but I feel like we can't leave the conversation without saying that I think this is just another example about how kids, the object isn't to protect kids, but to weaponize them for whatever aims you might have.
Weaponize the wind. Sorry.
Okay. I knew he was going to say it. That's why I didn't look in his direction.
I tried not. You told me. I tried not to.
If you have never heard what OBO's referencing,
can we just put an insert in one of these episodes?
Yes.
You can go to Earth Gang's Ghetto Guys album. It is track 11. Well. And that is it, and that is all. So we wanted to get back into, for our Big Kahuna, we actually only like touched the top of it. As last week was such a fun time, such a robust episode. I got that word from OBO. It's your favorite word. And I enjoy repeating it. But the state of the economy is something that probably would have went over 2 episodes anyway. I asked you how the economy was treating you last week, and we had laughs and giggles about that. But what's so funny is that OBO did indeed go to the urgent care facility right after the appointment and had more things to share about other elements of the state of the economy. So I want to ask you if you would share with the people how that went and how it went for your pockets.
Yeah, how the pockets. Amen. I was saying to them basically that it costs money to be sick. And that's crazy because inevitably most of us are going to end up sick at some point in life.
Yeah.
And I wasn't feeling well. Actually, I wasn't feeling well. And I also had this little like skin thing going on. And I went to urgent care, and immediately she was like, it'll be $250 for the visit. You know,
offer it.
Like, period. And we don't take insurance.
No matter what. Like, what if I'm not
We don't
sick?
take insurance, and it's $250 for the visit.
Period. Got it.
To walk back there, and we need payment up front. There's not like a haircut. We need the payment before you even go back there. So I gave her $250, whatever. Ended up being $310, and then having to go get some medicine, some topical cream for the skin thing I had going on. But again, it's like I didn't do anything necessary to like get the skin thing happening. It was just the luck of the draw, and here I am spending hundreds of dollars on a whim. Then I was sick. I'm not that sickly, guys, I promise. But I was sick again like 2 days later. And that visit was $485. But it's like, when you talk about money, it's like you have to allot for all the inevitables. I think we don't talk about as we talk about people who are covering their expenses, right? We talk about rent and car note, and that's cute and all, but like the inevitable of cars breaking down, of you getting ill, if you do have all the things that come into the space, and then when you have to pay those bills, which a lot of us as young kids had, lab bills in our name. I had a lot of medical bills in my name as a kid because my parents just couldn't afford to do things. So, parents take out credit cards for their kids to be able to keep you well. And that being a real reality because people cannot afford the inevitables of life.
And affording the inevitables of life is one thing, but also like affording the preparation of the inevitables. Because insurance is very expensive. Especially, we talk a lot about entrepreneurship or whatever, but like you're not getting the deals that these corporations are getting to give out to employees.
No.
I don't want to talk about how much I pay for insurance. That bill makes me cry more than my rent. And my rent is crazy, but just to know that I chose to pay this much money in case I get sick because of how much money it cost me when I got sick. And I'm now wondering, like, what's really the luck of the draw? Like, should I just like save this money yearly, and should I get sick, pay the things, or they is it propaganda that I should be paying for insurance in case someone breaks a leg? And like, no, not necessarily. But why are we paying to be taken care of? Why are we paying to be healthy? When other countries show that free healthcare is an accessible and attainable model. I mean, we know why. We can talk about capitalism, but it's just tough and it's rough.
And even in the spirit of preparation, food is expensive. Like food that is non-GMO, food that is actually healthy to go down your damn body. Like, you know what I'm saying? So people who are, you're feeding us trash and then making it hard when we get sick from the trash that we're going to get sick from.
Which is why, like, it's I spoke about this when I first moved to the suburbs. I had like this aha moment.
Come on, Burbs.
So when I first moved to the suburbs and my child's father was still living, he had moved to, I don't know what you would call that. What?
Living with you?
No,
Or
was
living
living.
around?
He was living somewhere else. Like
Okay.
he was living. Period.
Oh, I'm like, wait, what? When he was
is
still living?
very much living.
Got it.
Shout
Okay.
out to him. He's a real one.
Okay, praise God. My frat brother, what's up?
So he was living in Stone Mountain, right?
Okay.
And if you ever been to Stone Mountain, you know that's not the burbs.
That's my hood. Where I'm from.
So I was having a conversation with him, and I was like, "Yo, the supermarkets by you are so different than the ones by me. Like the ones by me, I'm not gonna lie, it's tea. Like it's very clean. The fruit is always fresh. And then I noticed, and we noticed this because, like, of course, like he would send Papa with lunches or like just little things where I'm noticing the quality of the food in his neighborhood is so different. And I started to think about it more, and I'm like, I also remember when I was in college, I used to live on this street where one avenue was very poor and the other was very affluent. And they were probably about 7-9 blocks away from each other. And the quality of the food in the supermarket, sometimes things, I would buy them from the supermarket because I lived closer to the hood and my brothers lived on the same street, but they lived closer to the neighborhood where things were nice.
Got it.
And sometimes I would buy things and it was spoiled like the next day, you know?
Damn.
And so it's the same thing that you're saying. The percentage of people in these neighborhoods that have these poor nutrition supermarkets, most of them don't have insurance. Most of them don't have plans, much less a savings account, much less a, you know what I'm saying, a safety blanket or even someone that they can call outside of their immediate home to help them in these situations. And it's like, it's not that any of this is random or that any of this goes unseen. It just doesn't matter.
It's almost as if they expect this.
Yeah, for sure. And who has time to cook? Because you're also in the rat race of trying to make money at a job that you probably don't like. That's also underpaying you, but.
And then just to add on to that, the amount of places who don't accept food stamps, the EBT and SNAP and are the places where you're getting better food. And like, granted, it costs more, so it takes up more space on the card, but like you don't even have access to it. Food deserts were a brand new thing to me when I got to school. When I started at Spelman and the community service program that I was in, we did like professional development, and one of them was learning about food deserts and understanding why the things are set up that way. And then when you get deeper and deeper and deeper into the hood, what's a supermarket? We got the corner store, and there's like, what? There's no produce there. Like, what are we talking about? So I think it's important to set the stage for the fact that not everybody is on the same playing field, and we do know that. But last week I briefly mentioned that we were in a silent recession, where the prices are going up and the wages are staying the same or going down, but none of this affects the people who are making decisions. None of it. So it becomes and it's crazy that it becomes a loud recession when the rich people start to suffer.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But given that, like, it's funny because I saw, and I wish I found it. I mean, I wish I could find it again, but there was this post on TikTok that was discussing what your income was and where you landed, like, in terms of like moderately wealthy, medium wealthy, like and the amount of money that I'm making, I was like, oh, I'm barely scratching the barely scratching the surface. And I used to be making only $50K as a teacher, and it's just really weird to see how like money just comes and goes. But yes, so that's where we are right now in the silent recession type deal. We don't really know. A threat of recession is still like looming. I was just doing some research on the inflation rates on mortgages. Like, home prices are going down, but the inflation rates are not. They're pretty much like where they are, and it will be a while before they get to some type of norm because everybody's trying to recoup from what? COVID-19.
Right.
And not just COVID-19, all the things affecting our economy have been exacerbated because of the wars going on around the world. And it's so interesting to me that you would think if war meant less money, people would stop waging it. No? Because it means more money for particular people in power.
I was going to
winners.
say, yeah.
But if everybody's suffering, cut the shit.
But if
no.
if most of the people who are suffering don't typically even know what's going on half the time, then the people who are not suffering, who actually have most of the information.
And your community is for the people who are not suffering too. So you don't even see the people who are suffering.
Correct.
They're so far from your reality.
Correct.
But then it's all subgroups, right? Like most of us are kind of like blindsided by some realities. I told you guys before, I had a friend who really was trying to save for a tailpipe bag. And I was like, I was like, oh my goodness, am I like, who am I becoming, right? But I was like, I thought she was just misinformed. I'm like, oh no, they're not expensive. Like you can go get one. Like you can go get one. So the bag is like $125, and I'm like, yeah.
And
that's money to some folks.
Something that happened recently on social media is the girls started talking about their rates transparently, how much they were getting paid.
Yeah.
And there were so many people that began to see, like, hold on, you getting paid what for what?
Like too much or too little.
Like they were just shocked at the fact that they were getting paid so little.
Okay.
And that there were people getting paid so much. And then there were people who were shocked that they were getting paid so much and other people were getting paid so little. And it was a huge, and not on Twitter, it was on Threads. It was a really big conversation on Threads about it. But you also began to see how, like, there are so many people that, and I don't want to deter, but there's just so much that we just don't know about, like, how much other people are earning. Like, especially when we're earning a certain amount, we just begin to think, like, oh, yeah, like, if you're in a house or you got a car or you buy nice things or you look a certain type of way, you must be blah, blah, blah. But you'd be surprised to know that if you really sit down with your friends and find out how much money they actually have in their pockets or how much they actually need to sustain their household, I think as friends, we have those conversations every now and then, like scratching the surface. And we still don't, you know.
What it makes.
Correct. Yeah. But it's interesting. But yeah.
I think I saw this in the notes as well about the whole, like, people who are doing alternative methods to make money, which was, I think the whole money thing does change the scope of society at large, right? Like sex work and the people who are finding different avenues to put money in their pocket, and us relinquishing some of the shame, because who are we to shame people who are in this climate trying to make a buck?
Oh, okay, go ahead.
I forgot what I was going to say. It was good too. It's fine.
What's that?
I don't know. Dang, I'm so sad I missed it.
Just real quick, because when you said the thing about, like, sex work and, like, people trying to make money in these different type of ways, and I figured what I was going to say was going to remind you too. But I don't know if y'all have watched Poor Things. I really encourage you to watch it.
What is it on?
Hulu.
Okay. What's
It
that?
was Oscar. It was an Oscar winner.
Okay.
Actually, for a couple of awards, but it's with. Is it? Ooh, I don't want to say her name wrong. Just give me a second, because she just deserves all her accolades, and I don't want to mess it up. I know. Yep. Emma Stone.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Very funny, very interesting movie about if you had no social. It's so funny that the bag is in front of the timer. If you had nothing, like no social restrictions holding you back on how to make money, what would you do? And not to give too much away, but there's a part in the movie where they don't have any money, and she's like, it's fine, I'll get us a hotel, like, it's cool. And he's like, how would you do that? Like, how would you get us? We don't have no money. And she's like, well, I'll figure something out. She walks around. She sees a lady who is in front of a building, and she's like, do you have anywhere I could live? Because I need to live somewhere. And she doesn't know it's a brothel. And again, just giving a little bit of context without giving the movie away, she doesn't have all the cognizance of a person that, again, has social norms and
She rich.
Correct. So the lady's like, yeah, like, if you just gotta get a client and you just give me this percentage and then you can go ahead and stay there. And she's like, okay, bet. Like, what do I have to do? And the lady's like, a man comes up to the brothel and she's like, oh, perfect, customer. So you service him, y'all go up to the room, he gives you 30 francs, you give me 10. Cool. She's like, wait, are you saying like I have to have sex with him? And she's like, yeah. And she's like, oh, great, because I've only had sex with one person, and I've been interested to know like what it's like to have sex with somebody else anyway. So I am in need of sex, I am in need of money, and I am in need of somewhere to stay.
Not in need of sex.
And so she goes and gets the money, comes back to the person that she's dating, and she's like, would you like a chocolate eclair? Like, and we also got a place to stay. And he's like, you've whored yourself. What? You know? But I share that little story to say that it's interesting the things that we would do when at the end of the day, what you need matters more than what people think, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah.
And so, yes, that did remind me of what I was going to say, because on the one hand, I think that's why we're seeing this evolution or revolution against shame. And people are just doing what they want to do. And like we're having more discourse and we're fighting back in terms of like what a sustainable and or reputable whatever occupation is to live the life that you live. Yeah. And that's why I also think something like TikTok is so powerful. And I'm not going to get into no conspiracy theories, but like beyond what people might say about it being a threat to national security, TikTok is allowing us to share so much information about how much money we're making, about different types of occupations and different ways to make money. I just saw somebody talking about, y'all out here driving Uber, you need to be a medical courier and work for so much more money with far less headache. And also like telling stories and becoming like connected to people across different platforms that you wouldn't have before. These are things that, remember I said earlier, I would love to see things crumble. This is how it begins, like really creating structures that tear at these social norms that don't force us to fit into these boxes that the world would like us to feel is normal. So, yeah, for sure.
I like that.
Capitalism.
Yeah, it's really terrible. And I don't, it's really terrible. And don't cancel me. Hear me out. It's the first time I feel like I'm saying something that y'all could be like, just hear me out. Capitalism is terrible as it exists. I think living in the type of world that we live in, to where we want the different access to technology, or technology helps us live our life in more efficient, effective ways. I think that it makes sense that certain people, not even that certain people might make more money, but that certain things might cost more than others, like resources and accessibility and how often and blah, blah, blah. I think those things make sense. And maybe the capitalism has been so deeply ingrained in me that it's just the only thing that makes sense to me. But it doesn't have to come at the expense of other people having like healthy lifestyles. Like there's so much margin and profit that exists in the current capitalist structure. And that's what I think makes it evil. I don't know that it inherently has to be evil. I think that with the amount of money that Nike, I've always given this example, the amount of money that Nike is shelling out to athletes to use their image, they can pay for the people over in Cambodia that don't have nowhere to live, don't have nothing to eat, working for 3 cents an hour. And even if you didn't, and like, it's still bad, hear me, this is still bad. Even if you didn't want to pay them a wage, you could pay for housing. You could pay for food. You could like, if
I don't think it's bad, because you're saying more can be done.
Yeah, more can be done with what it is. It's just that greed is so, and like the unchecked ability for people to make money and price up things, like how legal it all is, makes for the perfect environment for people to be exploited. But I'm just saying, I think there's a world in which where, yes, things may vary. Yes, there might be people may be more well-to-do, like, and I'm thinking of feudal systems, and I don't know too much about it. I don't know too much about how things existed in medieval times, and still like kings were terrible and there were peasants and things like that. I think for the greater part of our world, it's existed to where greed is not allowed for a equitable sharing of resources so that people can just live pleasant lifestyles. So I think that's why, that's why a lot of us are like, well, let's see what socialism is talking about. Maybe not communism, because it can be a lot in the wrong hands, but like, let's see what other economic systems have to offer us, because this one has just been so polluted from however long ago. It just don't work.
So, and not that I agree with you on socialism, but what I will say is the difference between things like socialism and capitalism is a transparency of what's going on, right? And I think that one thing that we have a lot of difficulty about in our society, especially with social media, and it goes back to the cringe kind of person that we were speaking about earlier, that person that's like, I just want to get money, I just want to do we do so many things to make money quickly, not understanding that, especially when you're making quick, easy cash, there's another side of who is being hurt. So when you speak about Nike and all of that, very quickly, me and my partner got into it this morning about tax liens, a tax lien project. I don't know if you guys know what tax liens are, but there are people who have liens on their homes because they're not able to pay their taxes, meaning that they owe money because they're not able to pay the taxes on their homes. So there are people that go around and they pay these tax liens so that they now become the owner, and maybe they'll give you like a lower rate, or they'll be able to make it look like they're helping out. But essentially, once they take over that lien, they now have some ownership over your home and they can kick you out. So when he first told me about this idea, I'm still getting very new into real estate. I wasn't really thinking about the whole process of it, of the humans involved, but I was like, oh, like, so you would be helping them and whatever, cool. As he spoke to me about it today, more in depth, he was telling me about his mentor that had to leave a firm because he was like, why would I kick a 78-year-old veteran out of his home because he's on a fixed income now and probably can't afford the taxes because he literally does not have it. Insurance is going up. All these things are going up. And I was like, actually, I agree with that. I think that that's really messed up, especially when you think about the demographic of people who are affected by this thing. And for him, he was like, I just think that the best way we can keep money in our community is for us to be rich. Again, that mindset that Steve Harvey had, like the best thing you could do for broke people is not be one of them. And I think these things sound cool and cute to a certain extent until we think about how they affect real human lives. And it's to your point, we don't care about the things that are not at our front door. So for him, it's like, this not at my front door. I can make me some paper. I got some money in my account now. I could go ahead and, where for me, it's like, we really got to start thinking about how in the long run, this does really affect people that look just like us. And then it ends up eventually affecting us. And
it's so interesting because when you told me about it, it's so funny. When you told me about it and you were talking about it in like a positive light, all I heard was like predatory. All I heard was like evil.
And today, that's what I
didn't say nothing because I thought the joke had run out where I've been like, Sam, the capitalism has gotten you. That's exactly what I thought in my head, but I'm glad we're here. I'm glad we've arrived.
And that's the thing. The capitalism has gotten me, but I think we all have to have limits, you know? There has to be enough information before we try to get some money real quick for us to understand what we're getting ourselves into. Because it's not like I wouldn't do other things that people would probably disagree with, but I'm a Christian. So
liens itself are stupid. To me, that's stupid. Are predatory in my opinion.
Yeah, no, it's all terrible.
Yeah.
It's all terrible. But I think what makes it even more terrible is like the fact that it exists, and then there is a structure for someone to go in and take advantage of that window of its existence to leverage it against the person who was already being,
it's already, and then what really chapped my khakis, I low-key have my khakis say, what really chapped my khakis was the part that, like, a lot of these people are veterans on fixed incomes, and if it wasn't for, like, we disrespect our veterans so dirty in this country.
Our senior citizens in general, nobody care about you once you, after 65, 70, girl, good luck.
And it's that they say, you could tell a lot about a society by how they treat their women, their elderly, and their dead. And
like I said, good luck. Even now, even this whole craze of, lifetime, what is it called? Come on. Not a warranty, Lord.
What? Life insurance?
Life insurance.
Okay.
I don't think a lot of these policies are not about like appropriate burial for your family vibes. It's to get your money up. Get your money up. And I think again, when we think about capitalism, to your partner's point, it's tough though, because at the same time, to your point about the front door thing, your cousins, your kids, your girl, your boy need funds. So in your mind, you're like, tough luck. My family needs some money. But to your point too, it's like the system that we're not creating better or not making better affects your grandkids because they gotta exist in this system that you don't give a damn about. And then what happens?
So let me ask y'all something. We do have more things to talk about, but I was having this conversation yesterday, and I just want to know your perspective on it.
1 second.
Huh?
1 second. Okay. Can we do a time check? Oh. I had messaged you, but okay.
Oh shoot.
Cool.
Well, dang. Well,
that's all right.
We still ain't got
16 days.
Well, it seems we still haven't completed the things we're supposed to do in this episode. But I just want.
Sorry.
I just wanted to ask you guys, because I think it's so connected to what you just mentioned. How do you feel about Black people? I'm not going to say the word. There's an obvious word attached to this, but I don't know if it has the same bearing, so I'm not going to use it in my description. How do you feel about, I won't even say well-to-do, but Black people who can afford it? I'll just say that, because that's a wide swath depending on what you do. Well, how do you feel about them moving into neighborhoods that are historically Black, that are or recently run down and not taken care of, but a home or two has been refurbished, and Black people moving into those neighborhoods? How do you feel about that?
I don't think I'm understanding.
Gentrification.
Okay, but not with whites.
Oh, so Black people who
Does it
participate
make it
in
different for
gentrification.
you? Does it make it different for you?
Okay. I'm gonna say a thing.
Okay.
Because remember I said, like, the capitalism bug does have me to a certain extent.
I know you lying.
I know.
Anyway, continue.
Am I angry with gentrification? I would not say that I am angry with gentrification.
I'm going to give you a new vocabulary word.
Okay.
Revitalization.
Ah.
But is that racism in a cloak?
So
is it sugar on the cocaine?
Is
That was
it
an
different when
interesting
they're?
image.
But to her question, is it different when they're Black people who are coming into Black areas?
No, and I think that's the thing. For me, there are things that are black and white, and when I say black and white, there are things that are racially connected and there are things that are not. And I think that the structure of gentrification itself has some pros, but also when we think about the long-term effects, it is a very racially connected thing.
Okay.
And so am I upset about us upgrading our neighborhoods and making sure that things are clean and that the problem is that you don't come into these neighborhoods and adjust these houses and then think about the people that you're kicking out by putting them into maybe facilities or that's the part to me that.
And something I'd like to understand more to fully form my opinion, because I do think this is where the bug has bitten me a little bit, is like not knowing the process of what it took for that home to become empty.
Correct.
What do you mean?
Because for the home to become empty, there are various things that could have happened. It could have foreclosed. It could have been.
But get them. How did they get out of the home?
Someone could have been coerced to move, or sold their home for a less price and it was marked up for. All these things that could have happened, and I won't even say because more often than not, if a person is living in a neighborhood like that already, I think it might have something to say about what they're able to access as far as living quarters, period. So I'd like to understand more about the processes that it takes, because I've been seeing it a lot and looking for a home myself. I don't care how big I'm doing, and we've had this conversation, there's certain things I won't spend my money on. I think if I ever had an opportunity, I might get a house. My living quarters are very important to me, and something that I heard before is if your home feels like a paradise, you never feel like you have to go on vacation and things like that. It's a respite, and so that's very important to me. But the markups that are happening in the city are crazy. I don't want to spend $1 million on a home, but there are homes that are being built that have the amenities that I would like to have for myself, but they happen to be in the neighborhoods that I know to have been run down, crime ridden, and all these things. And now they're calling the West End Westview. Now they're calling Bankhead West Midtown or something like that.
Okay,
I know they hate me because I don't be knowing.
Okay. All right. Well, then,
new restaurant and what?
No, I get
and
it.
so then you have to think about do I personally want to buy this home where I'm not sure about the safety because the rest of the area hasn't been gentrified yet? And then are you a part of the problem because you're hoping the rest of the area becomes gentrified? But what happens to those families there? So yes, I think revitalization sounds nice, but I think the only way revitalization works is if people are taken out of dilapidated buildings, given somewhere to stay, and are allowed back in those new upgraded things.
But it's also, two brief things I have to say, because this really, it affects me directly. Number one, I'm from the hood. I'm from a hood that was so hood that I was uncomfortable being there. That there were times where I would walk home and I would be uncomfortable. There were times where I would be home and be like, I can't, when I grow up, I don't know where I'm gonna live, but I'm gonna live here because I'm never gonna have no roaches in my house. I'm never gonna have no rats in my, you know what I'm saying?
You had roaches in your house?
I did.
And rats?
At the same time, no.
Okay.
I'm not gonna hold you. Both of those things were in that apartment with my nasty ass neighbors. I had to
So you
to
both
get
had
out.
roaches and rats.
I'm from New York, and we can
relate.
fight after this. But
Can't relate. It's crazy.
The girls are a
but
little.
yeah, that was
Okay.
I had a doorman when I was growing up.
oh
Was it you?
no, he didn't.
Were you the doorman?
I had a doorman.
They said somebody at the door, OBO. Go get the. Go open the door.
Hey, what were you saying, Sam?
Okay.
So yes, so for me, because I lived in those, like, something that when me and O started living together, he littered one time and that pissed me off. I said, not in this neighborhood. No, I hate littering because I come from a place where littering was so normal that you would walk on the streets and there would be grime and just stuff. And like, so when neighborhoods get cleaned up, that's something that's important to me. But on the other side, I also have people in my family that got the phone calls of like, hey, we saw your house and we think it's worth this amount and blah, 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 and we can do a really good deal. And now they're on, you know, things like reverse mortgages, things that we don't know about or think about happening where, okay, this is a sweet deal for me, but really that's how those houses get empty. And so that's the part where do I think that the people who participate, whether they are black, white, yellow, orange, are to blame? A lot of them are so ignorant that they just think they're moving into a better neighborhood. They're doing something for their financial portfolio. I don't think they are specifically to blame, and I don't judge them for it. But I think that collectively as a people, we do need more information put out about what it means to own a house, maintain a house, and what is happening in these neighborhoods and how we can make a better system of what is now gentrification.
I think it's hard without instilling more fear in an already under-resourced, vulnerable group of people. Because even for myself, we think about how, you know, I own a home, and when I bought my home, the biggest beauty of it, or the biggest selling point people were talking to me was, your price isn't going to change, right? And when you rent, the price can go up every time, and that's only partially true, right? Because if your taxes skyrocket,
I was going to say,
then it goes
my mortgage goes up.
And so within that, mine actually hasn't gone up yet. My HOA has, but my mortgage has not stayed the same. However, they're building a lot around my area, and so we're all thinking about how great that's going to be for us. However, your taxes are going to go up. So likewise, those neighborhoods we talked about before about how they got out of here, their taxes might have been astronomical to the point they can't afford to be there anymore. So what was once an area that you could afford to live in, and maybe they don't even build other houses. Maybe all the houses are still right now, but they built a shopping center, they built a grocery store, they built a movie theater, they built all these things around you that's making your taxes go, and then next thing you know, you got to bounce because you just can't afford to be there. And so I think it's a bigger even problem than residential, right? It's like, how do we protect people who are vulnerable instead of making them vulnerable, preying on them, and then doing away with them, and then putting people who aren't in their place? And that's what happens in so many industries, even outside of real estate, which is like money. Again, earlier in the conversation we were having, it's like so tough because money is not the biggest deal, and I recognize that. However, in this country, it's just so hard. Everybody, you know, I used to always joke and say, like, people say money doesn't solve every problem. Money will probably solve about 95 of my problems. Like, it just is what it is. And you know what I'm saying? Most people got problems that money could do a good thing for. And so, but I don't know, it just sucks. Because even now, even when you get your bread up, and it reveals things about you that you don't like. If your bread is up enough, it won't even matter. That's how crazy capitalism is. Like, sure, having money may reveal that you're not kind, but you also have money, so you can be unkind. Not saying you're gonna be a good person for it, but you live in a system that rewards money.
Yeah.
And I do think it is a privileged thing to say, even though I agree with it. It is a privileged thing to be able to say money isn't everything. But the truth is, if we're being honest about it, money does play a big role in the things that actually matter.
Hello, what can you do without it? Money is like sex.
It cost me $40 to step outside today. I didn't even do nothing.
And that's on the lower end, girl. Hello.
That's crazy. But no, like, this is all very true. This is all very true. And I think it's a full circle moment to where we started the episode talking about what this world requires out of people to exist in it, period. And I saw this tweet, and part of me feels like it was one of those, like, I feel like it was there are certain type of privileges, and money is one of them. Knowledge is another. And the privilege to look top down is another one. And so the tweet read something to the extent of, Black influencers and celebrities should not be your reference for Black excellence. That is nothing but Black people buying into the system of capitalism and should not be our measure for getting free. And so it challenged me a lot because I do a lot of work in the philosophy of the things and all the social ailments. And it challenged me a lot because if we do want liberation, but this world is requiring so much out of us, like how do we reconcile those of us who are attaining more income and like for purpose, not necessarily just to be rich, but to be able to do things for and in community. But like, do we see that giving back as repentance for buying in? Like, I think it's really hard to juggle it, to really want things to reverse, to want for there to be more equity, and to have to make money to do it, and to have to engage in the system to some extent to extract something for it. And how do we reconcile those things? I think it's really difficult. And that's why I said I feel like there's more types of privilege, because it's very easy to tweet that. Is it also easy to abide by it? Do you get solutions? And maybe you do, but how much more work is there to be done to like get everybody to buy out of it, to engage in those solutions? Because I think that's like 90% of the battle. Like you can know the things, you can know what makes the things exploitative, what makes people vulnerable, but it's getting people to divest from the way the world literally works in order to change it. And I'm not saying at all, like as someone who has the desire to want to change the world and for good people to exist in it, that is something that I aspire for. Yeah, it's also very hard, and I think it's very privileged to make blanket statements like this, because I think it's going to take time. And I'm not saying we should waste time. I'm just saying I think it takes time and it takes grace, and we have to get on the same page, and you can't villainize anybody for anything they're doing. That's why I asked the question. How do you guys feel about Black people engaging that space, in that middle ground? Because you could say in the Steve Harvey or whatever of it all, you could say that that's us doing something for our communities. But I think we forget that beyond racism, there's also classism, and though the two go hand in hand, it creates a divide within our communities again. And we just forget about the people that we step on to build.
Step on is strong.
Okay.
I think step on is
accurate.
Not that it's accurate and not that it's strong. A lot of us don't even know what is going on. I don't mean like actively, like there's some people in this world who are holding up magnifying glasses to ants, and then there's some that are walking and accidentally kicking a heel on accident. You know?
I just resent the idea that it's us to our problem. I mean, it's our problem, but is it our problem? Like, I don't know. We were just not active in creating classism, racism, social. We just weren't active in that, and so to then charge us to then like do the work to like to resolve the issue that we didn't create, and then also a system that we're trying to exist in too. It's like
it's a lot.
It's like you already carrying a lot, but carry it better, girl. Stop wheezing. Like damn, I don't even know. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm barely getting by as it is.
Killing me too.
Let me have 2 seconds or something, girl. We're in the same boat, please. But to your point, it's tough because it's like there are people who are like on the other end. Like colorism, it's a real thing, but like, girl, you still Black. Like, we can shame her for being darker, but girl, we both gonna be the same name when we go to the same place, girl, trust. But it's like, we have this hierarchical thing of like, well, I got a couple more dollars than you, so I get to, and likewise to the fact that like money is a status thing versus a resource. People just want to be millionaires, not because they want to spend $1 million, because they want to be millionaires, because it sounds cute. It's become cute to have money versus I want to build a house for my family. I want to buy this. I want to build this. I want to go here. Like, it's not that anymore. It's become a status thing. And it's like, girl, I guess.
Well.
But give me a little status, so I ain't mad.
Oh, before we head out, sorry, that was so abrupt. I just was going to forget.
Oh, yeah.
This will be the last day that we are currently in our space. Our space is changing, and honestly, so is our lives. We will be giving you news as the weeks come. And it's going to just have to change the way that we do the podcast. So the next time you see us, it will likely be virtual. And we'll keep you updated as it goes, because as you know, we're holding for maintenance.
That was so cute. I heard nudes when you said we'll give you nudes. That's why I laughed.
No, nudes.
I won't be sending any nudes.
Announcements.
The nudes are fire, though. I mean, I don't have any nudes.
Who's been getting the nudes?
I haven't sent any nudes, but...
okay.
But how we got on nudes?
I said if there are news floating the space,
they're
they're
good.
fire.
Okay.
As they should be.
Leak them.
Okay.
Okay. And now, when it's leaked, and you take them to court.
Kim Kardashian, the whole thing. Oh, wait.
Is there a heart? Is there a heart in the house tonight? Stand up. Stand up.
Stand up.
This part for me.